Hey folks, welcome back. It's Lucid, and I've got another turn for you here with Mountain Arena. We're going to try to go through these pretty quickly. The main reason being, we're getting kind of late in the series, and I want to keep this thing really humming along. So we're going to try to keep turns down to about 10 minutes or less, and then maybe I can get 2 turns in an episode. We'll see. We're going to start off with a message from Micklin. The fort I took comes with a Conjuration discount site. I expect to have fun summoning 2 gem jade serpents there. Though I think my anemic research is probably better spent on other schools than Conjuration for the next 5 to 10 turns. Message from Tirnanog. Hey Lucid, Agartha and I have decided that our little squabble is less important than the 2-cap Lemire or Lanka in our column. We agreed to peace out, with him paying me some nature gems for a green enchantress site he absolutely has to have. We're refocusing our war machine on the budding but hopefully still weakened blood power. We came to the conclusion that if Lanka is allowed to go undisturbed, it would be the only nation in this column that would have any relevance in the game. I look forward to hearing your analysis of the situation in the video. Sergeant Flintlock, excellent. Message from Ubar. I officially excuse myself to all the viewers for the staring contest between Yomi and me. I will try to change things within the next 2 turns. If I fail, then you will at least get a bit of entertainment value. Okay. Let's start with Ubar. If I can find them on the map, here we go. Oh my goodness. Oh no, defeat in detail. This is not just PD, this is an actual army. These wolves, there's so many wolves actually from this many Dione in a province. And these guys don't have armor, so the wolves actually can't damage them. And the archers from Yomi's side are trading. They're on fire archer here. Oh man. I feel I'm hurting a little. This was just the best Ubar position. And just a few military missteps, and it's all falling apart. Okay. We've talked, I think, a little bit about kind of what needs to happen. I think he's boned. I think he's fucked now. I think this is a unwinnable position now. And let me explain why. To win, how you fight this army of Ubar is pretty simple. So he sacrificed, for those of you who haven't maybe been watching the whole time, he sacrificed a bunch of smaller squads. Archers are one of the things that really work in a critical mass, because they're not going to be great once stuff closes with you. So you really want to have like a critical mass. And he's lost a lot of these guys in like little raiding squads. And then these guys are going to do really well, killing basically everything in this army except the Dione. Even these guys, who I will point out do not have fire resistance, but they have a second form, which is ethereal. For that second form, you really need flaming arrows. And having any of these guys fighting without flaming arrows is like an actual crime. When you think this army may come here. So you basically need like 200, maybe 150, but 200 would be safe. 200 archers, which you could totally have by this time in the game. With flaming arrows cast on them. And after that, you're going to have some kind of units with buffs and whatever you can manage on them. Like Shaitan, or I think the Sultan actually is what I'd probably use. People don't normally get the Sultan, but I think in this case against Dione, it's probably a good call. But you could also just have like 2 Shaitan. And their job is to... I would probably have them on attack closest so that they help clear out the rest of the chaff and then come in here and kill these guys. And but you're going to put Holy Scourges on them. But yeah, I mean, look at this. He's getting defeated in detail so much here. It's such a bad thing. I don't think that this matchup was one-sided either way. I think it was going to come down to like who played better and who outplayed the other one and some really good battles. What makes me a little sad is I feel like there's just been Ubar's kind of just fumbled around a little bit, right? Like they've just been they haven't fully respected Yomi enough. They've had a bunch of their raiders get caught. What the hell? Oh, God, Hinom is just angry stomping as TNG moves in to take his cap. What the fuck is happening down here? I don't even know. But yeah, the only thing that's a little disappointing is we might get denied a really good fight. But hopefully we get to see Ubar ride out this turn. But we'll see. Because I was thinking this was going to be like a really, really good fight. But the problem is, if all your stuff gets defeated in detail, you don't really have an army to fight with. All right, enough of that. Hinom rage marching at Yomi. Actually, is kind of a problem for Yomi, because he's fully committed over here. Can a Dione super combat in this? Not easily. Not easily. Raphite warriors, which hit like goddamn freight trains with a huge Dawn Blade. Melkort's Horite Shamans. He could actually take this Palisade, potentially. This would be really bad for Yomi. And Hinom's about to be taken out of the game by this army. We can look at it. Interesting. I don't know why you put those guys in front. Maybe so I guess he's expecting archers. And he's putting like people, maybe they're on fire closest or something. I think Hinom's totally boned. I think they're totally boned. What was this? Oh no. You can't do this. So he's got a stinger, which I like. Summon imps. No. Fire shield. Hell power. Oh no. Okay, I'm going to tell y'all what happened here. He didn't script summon imps. This was, could have happened for multiple reasons. If the AI is not able to cast something, you tell it to cast. And I have a hard time imagining what that is here. But he probably scripted something like fire resistance or something, right? And because it couldn't cast it, it instead basically just cast whatever spell it thought was right. And because it wasn't on conservative gem usage, he cast Summon Imps. And then he does Summon Hell Power. Fire Shield. I don't know what that spell was he was trying to cast. It can't have been Summon Imps. Or maybe it was. Maybe he wanted to keep the trolls distracted. So he's done Hell Power now. He has pretty ridiculous stats. But he's going to have a bunch of horrors coming to kill him too. That didn't work. He gets points for trying. I mean, let's take a look at this too. Normally the problem, in my opinion, you need to be blood 5 to cast Hell Power safely. But maybe he has enough slaves to do it here. He's probably going to fatigue himself out. Yeah, he's at 200 fatigue. You can't, so A for effort, I love Hell Power Melkorts, but you just can't do it like this. You need to be blood 5 to start with. You might be able to do it blood 4 with 4 slaves. I don't think so. I think you actually need to be blood 5. So, very cool. But sadly didn't work. And yeah, the problem is, if you don't do this properly, you summon horrors while you're passed out, and shit's pounding on you, and the horrors are pounding on you. Right? While you are literally at 200 fatigue. It is not a good situation to be in. Yeah. So, that's what happens. Might have worked better against TNG. Hard to say. I don't think you're going to thug these guys very easily, though, even with stuff like that. TNG's looking pretty solid. We're going to come over here and look at Lanka. I'll try to hit this 10-minute mark still. We're not doing so hot. They've come over this way. The important news in this column is that they're both repositioning, both Agartha and TNN, who are fighting, to... they're positioning to fight Lanka, but none of their stuff is in position yet. The elves will be a little hard to see. But this is going to be really interesting. 30-1 is playing Lanka, and he's a pretty solid player. I think this was actually the right call, because Lanka, I think it is really interesting. I think depending on who, like, if you're the first person to win your 1v1, this is, like, definitely a possible outcome. I think you really do not want Lanka, of all nations, powering up in your column while you grind into somebody else. So I think this actually makes a lot of sense. But I think there's a very good chance that Lanka beats Tirnanog. And I think there's a pretty good chance he beats Agartha. The only problem with Agartha is I think Magma Kids are going to fuck up his Sacreds. So I don't know. Actually, the way I see this happening is I think Lanka could, depending where he devotes resources, beat Tirnanog, but I think he's going to lose to Agartha. So this will be really interesting to see how it plays out. No real action here, though, right now. Micklin trying to catch this gosh darn... Wait, Niflheim jumps out with his Master Enchanter with a fuck ton of death gems? What the fuck? Okay, takes this. Oh, this was in the magic phase. And then moves a Nifljarlin? I don't understand this move. He must be trying to escape his god out of here and set up some new home. Maybe he's going to go try to camp. This would be hilarious if the last stand of Niflheim was on the Throne of Fire. Does it have a spreads heat? No. But that would be hilarious. And they're being chased down by a pack of Aussies. I don't think this is going to go very well. Oh god, it's so funny. It's so funny. Yeah, Vanheim sieging Niflheim down. Micklin is just powering up like crazy. But yeah, we'll have to see when he decides to go. See, yeah, he's just eating. I think this is going to be his play. He's just going to come in and eat as much in Niflheim as he can. And then probably immediately start the war with Vanheim. My money is on Micklin here. I think Micklin's pulling ahead farther and farther into position 1. And I think that ends this turn for us. Let's go ahead and go to the next turn, because we got pretty close to 10 minutes. All right, message from TNG. Greetings. Slow movement against Hinom. Don't want to get caught in a trap. Site searching going well. Found Conjuration 20 site. Good for demons. Heard war is Ubar stalemate, sort of. Yomi sounds confident in their victory. Ubar says just waiting for research. Oh god, what research is he waiting for? I mean, he's winning the game in research. TNG also says River Demons have 42 damage with quickness, 47 with Berserk. Should be about 18 damage through with Temper Flesh per guy. He's worried about Milkworts, which I think is a very reasonable thing to be worried about. But he's basically planning on killing them with those River Demons, which is also a very reasonable thing. Also, any idea why the throne has 0 income? TNG, throne, 0 income. Where? Oh yeah, it's because it's the throne of bureaucracy. This is not a global income thing. This is a local income thing. So once you claim it, it sets your income to that province to minus 100, but it caps it, it's not going to take you negative. So that's the answer to that question. Message from Micklin. The Flying Jaguar Circus is selling tickets. Come see our club sword jugglers performing the world's largest, on the world's largest tree. I guess that would be the Mother Oak. The circus has been working to corral Niflheim giants into that forest troll throne with our flying jaguars, which we're starting to mass. Niflheim decided to seek glory by boldly breaking out into the column, out of the column into Yomi's lands with his surviving giants. I decided to grant safe passage to the last of the Gaijers to join his grand adventure, where he will be observing the dance of the giants and the trolls via scrying pool. Okay. And then a message from Ubar. Okay, this is the moment of truth. In all my playtesting, I have not found a good solution to Dione for my Jin. They seem to counter exactly what I can offer. I've tried Just Man's crosses, but unfortunately Dione have Shields of Valor. Let's see if this is perhaps 1 or 2 bolts still hit. You don't need 1 or 2 bolts. You need like a lot of bolts to hit. I don't know if he did the math. I think this is the thing. Like, you guys see me playtesting a lot. Other players like Arco, they don't really playtest, right? They just do the math. I normally do the math and then I playtest, right? Because I don't trust my math good enough. But you want to do the math too. Like, if you're just like, oh, I'm going to do the playtest, like, you'll see it doesn't work, but you don't know how far you are from it working. And I can just tell you, a Dione with the Shield of Valor with all the other buffs we saw on him is completely... I mean, you could probably have like 15, 20 guys and only 1 Dione, and he'd probably be fine. Like 15, 20 guys with the Just Man's crosses. I had a bit of success with this tactic during testing, even without air shield, but without regular shield. I'd expected them to keep their default weapon. I was 1 turn away from getting Evocation 6, which would have given me Smokeless Flame, the Ubar signature spell. Now I have to try without it. I don't really remember how that spell works. I think it's a lot of armor-piercing fire damage. I don't want to ruin the surprise. We're going to watch all the Ubar fights here. Okay, this will work. Okay. Monarch Woods, was this it? This might be it. Okay. Oh, that's a lot of Shaitan. So Ubar is all in here. The other way is just, I think he's going to do air elementals. And I think enough air elementals will... I think here you honestly just have to HP out the army. Dione will go away. I think these guys were all the Just Man's cross carriers. Yeah. I mean, the answer here is actually super simple. It's, you need melee weapons. But then you have to just do whatever you can to not go in. Like, you have to buff them up with defensive things, and then you want them to all go in on, like, turn 5 on attack closest. The nice thing about attack closest, you also want them to have air shield, is that you're less likely to be hitting the Dione until the other guys start running. And then once the front squads have retreated, they'll switch their targeting to the back squads, which will probably be more like the Dione and stuff. So here's what we're looking to see. We're looking to see... But this is the other thing. Like, the fact that he lost... You know, he's been losing 20 to 40 units a turn for the past, like, 3 turns. This army... It would benefit from those other 40 or 60 dudes. Like, those are numbers that matter. These look like Spring Hawks as well. Okay. Ooh, these might fuck up Dione as well. The problem is they're probably going to die reasonably early in the fight. Okay, I want to see Flaming Arrows. Okay, I see Air Elementals. I would have saved my Air Elementals probably for later in the script. I also probably would have taken the Griffins that he had and put them on Guard Commander if I had a guy with like a Holy Scourge, and that way when he would jump in to hit the Dione, other people would kind of fly in with him and they'd be less likely to die. But the Air Elementals are going to make a mess out of these Kooni. They're also going to die pretty quickly. But where they're not completely surrounded... Oh god, look at that falling fires. That is so brutal. Alright, the Kooni are routed. But the Dione have just finished buffing up. We're about to have an HP rout, I think. Now, some of these bolts coming in are going to be Just Man's Crosses bolts. I'll try to keep an eye out for them. The other problem bringing these zombies... See, this is when he needs those air elementals, because those air elementals will trample the shit out of these guys, even with enlarge on them. Because they're size 4 to start with, so he's enlarged them to 5. But they'll still get wrecked by air elementals. He should have saved the air elementals to the end of the script. And then maybe done him on like round 4 or 5. We also don't see flaming arrows, which you can't research everything. He's gone pretty high evocation, which is very respectable thing to do with Ubar. But I think just given the troops that he's made, the pit stop at enchantment 4 is probably worth it. And yeah, Yomi's running. Did he cut off the retreat routes? I don't think so. We'll have to see. Wait, that was a Banefire crossbow. Oh, this guy's looking a little rough. Oh my god. Unequaled obesity. This guy might time out the battle. Yeah, he's got a Shield of Valor, 111 hit points. Holy shit balls. That is so much. That is so much. Oh, this guy can't escape either. And they have shock resistance. They're not gonna die to Springhawks. I mean, some of these guys shooting him are these Just Man's Cross dudes. This guy's definitely still shooting. They haven't waddled this far forward because with really high precision, they probably don't feel they need to get that close. I mean, these are, yeah, 15 precision. Or no, 19, because the Just Man's Cross adds precision too. We can see it's not doing shit. The reason it's not doing shit is because it has to get through, like it's getting... We'll do the math again. We did it a few episodes ago, but it's 16 damage. That gets multiplied by 3, right? But then you're... So let's call it 45 damage. You subtract out about 30. You get 15 damage left. That gets cut in half. Right? And I'm doing this a little out of order, but then you have to get past air shield. So then you're taking like 20% of that. And then you have to get past the shield. It just isn't going to do any damage at all. But Holy Scourge would. Alright, he's escaped. That's actually really good news. And this guy's escaped too. So... He loses hardly any of his mages, which is really important, but he loses most of his chaff. Most of his like flying chaff, like the all the summons, he lost the Springhawks, the Lions. A lot of this was actually friendly fire probably too. But he kept a fair amount alive. None of the Dione died. So he won this fight. This was like really good tactically for Ubar that he won. You know, like it's great. He had to win this or he's about to lose a fort. Like if the mages died, he's out of the game. But he didn't kill any of the Dione. Hopefully somebody just tells him about the Holy Scourge, because I'm not going to give advice to players. The only hope for him here was that he actually cut off the retreat route, which he didn't do. What did he try here? Because he tried... Ooh, just evocations is not going to work. Okay. At least the Shaitan lives. Oh, and the raids continue. Yeah, you have to be able to kill the Dione. Killed these guys. That's good. He's gotten some of the Bakemono squad. There's a lot of Bakemono running around, though. I mean, these Jin would have done pretty good. Like, you can see this worked pretty well. Jin plus, like, evocation is going to do really good against the Bakemono. And, like, we're really feeling a lot of this defeat in detail that happened earlier. You know, like, oh god. Hinom has rode his little horse out. The last stand of Hinom. That is a lot more Dione than I expected to see here. This guy, ooh, these, I can't even talk. These guys have been making a fuck ton of Dione. I mean, he had 7 of that other fight, and there's 4 here. There's 5 here. Holy shit. And the Melkort's coming in. Yeah. I mean, you can kill these guys. But you need Holy Scourges. A Stinger could probably do it, but this guy I don't think got in contact with them. Well, rest in peace, Hinom. Your dream will be long remembered. And he cleared out some chaff. I mean, he's doing a solid for his boy Ubar, but don't know if it's going to be enough. Raids over this way. Tian Chi, strangely not going for his capital. I'm going to admit this is a little confusing for me. I have no idea why you wouldn't march towards his capital. Like, Tian Chi is giving way too much respect to Hinom. Hinom's totally screwed. Like, if Hinom didn't do this thing where he marched off, or, you know, like, he's really just teching to something, like, you can super combat in this. It's not going to be easy, but it's probably possible. I wouldn't want to give them any space to do it. I think they're completely checkmate. You just come over here and take their stuff. So we'll have to see. Coming over to Tirnanog. No attacks here on Lanka yet. Agartha also not attacked Lanka, but is moving stuff into position. I thought he had more stuff than this. Did he fail this throne? Oh my god. Alright, get out the popcorn, boys. So this is the one problem. They're all going to focus Mind Blast on her, which she has 18 MR, so it's not going to be ultra effective. And he doesn't really... I think he... Oh god, and these Springhawks, they're going to ruin him in like 4 or 5 turns. They might kill the god, too. This is like the one way the god might die. 15 shock resistance? I don't know if it's enough. Fortunately, the Magma Kids are probably going to kill the Springhawks. Yeah. What's the god doing? Can't make me wear pants, and Kmart has a ton of fatigue. I don't like this armor on him. The armor's fine if you're going to use him by yourself, but it's too much fatigue if you're using it as part of the army. Oh no. Alright, so y'all remember how earlier in this episode when I was like, I think Agartha is going to beat Lanka? Agartha needed an army. That army has now died. Even if he got this throne, it would have been at horrendous cost. And he's about to have a hard war against Lanka. You don't want this to happen. If this guy, I don't know, 15 shock resistance is enough to tank the birds. I mean, I know it wouldn't for a normal unit to tank these Springhawks, but it might have been for him. And the reason is just because he regens so much. But I would have been tempted just to send him in and see what happens. I think he's made... The Agartha players, I think, made a mistake several times in this of sending this guy with the army when he'd be better alone. But also, he just has way too much encumbrance now for a trampler. And I mean, these things are reasonably easily fixed. Like, he needs... Let's see, does he fix it? No, he doesn't fix... Okay, so he's fighting in heat, right? He's got 2 heat just from... 2 encumbrance just from the heat. So, if he just did temper flesh, right, that's -2 encumbrance. If he wears better armor... I mean, honestly, he reaches so much, I think just a lion pelt would be fine, which he can forge. You just... If he's going to be completely alone, you can maybe be okay with him being fatigued out. But being part of an army, you really don't want him fatiguing out. You want him just killing stuff as fast as he can. And to do that, I mean, he would be at... I think with the lion pelt, if he got heat resistance, like fire resistance, he would be at 2 encumbrance. Because the lion pelt's going to add 1, which will compensate for the experience bonus. And then he wouldn't have this. and he wouldn't have the armor. You know, this 4 from the armor. So, yeah. And the difference between 2 and 7 is huge, especially when you're reinvigorating a lot. Like, he would actually probably be able to just nonstop trample with that. Anyway. Very cool Pretender God. But sadly, I think he's throwing the column to Lanka now. I think this is probably the best turn for Lanka, and Lanka didn't even know it. Like, probably the best turn Lanka's had all game. Because it was going to be really rough. Oh, no. Look at all this deep raiding by the Jinn. I do not like this. You needed to cut off the... This was the other way to kill... Oh, no. I didn't even see this earlier. He could have cut off all these retreat routes, potentially. Like, these guys, each of these, if the Jinn just attack and he summons, like, 2 air elementals per Shaitan, and they're all in attack turn 1, that would probably kill most of these Dione. If there was, like, a single Dione here. So if he took this battle and cut off the retreat routes and defended... He would need to... You actually really need all of these around here, because you would need to kill all the raiders. So it's a tough task. But it's possible. If you basically control all the raiding around the battle that took place here this turn, and defended this, you would have killed the Dione even though you couldn't kill them. And that would have been a critical victory. Instead, this is why, guys, like, deep raiding is good if you're going to just, like, wipe somebody out of the game and take their stuff all in a couple turns and, like, just dominate them, right? That is not what's happening here. Don't do deep raiding in this situation. These parties were so fucking sorely needed back up here. They were needed so badly. Not to win the battle, because they probably would have just died in the battle, but to control the territory around the battle for retreats. Anyway, makes me a little sad. But I don't think this war is over. I think it's going to get maybe a little more grindy. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to magic phase on these armies. They can stealth out. I feel like the initiative is still Yomi's. Ubar could do some things to turn it around, but I'm pretty worried. He's lost a lot of ground in terms of territory. Well, he's kind of back up. I thought he had lost more. Okay. No, but some of these provinces, he's not really tracing income. His real territory is, like, down here, I think. Okay, anyway. Yeah, good turn for Lanka. The elves, hard to tell what they're doing, because I can't see stealth units. But presumably they're all getting ready to attack Lanka. The sooner the better. Except that Agartha's shit just died. Vanheim has not yet cracked Niflheim's fort. Micklin moving out on top of this fort. Oh, God. The Nifl Jarls moving into this throne. How absolutely ridiculous. I just saw this throne in my game. It's very rare to see this huge forest troll throne. I don't know if it's, like, new or got patched in or something. I just feel like I've hardly ever seen it, but all of a sudden I've been seeing a lot of it. Alright, so he takes this reasonably hard throne, just pretty casually. Maybe this is his new home now. I would be pissed if I were Yomi and Niflheim starts attacking me here, which apparently Micklin's going to allow. Oh man, that's a nice province though. Jesus Christ. I think you want to get that as Micklin pretty soon. He site searched here with his god. Fort is not cracked. This fort's not cracked either, but we've got siege chaff coming in. I think Micklin's pulling farther and farther ahead. I will take a look at score graphs and we'll close this one out. Yeah, Micklin doing really good. Vanheim, position 2. Lanka, position 3. I don't think that's true. I think Lanka's position 2. Vanheim's position 3. Tianchi, I think, could have been ahead of Vanheim, but they just need to go kill Hinom. They're really dragging their feet here, which can be fine. Like, you don't want your Doom stack to get killed by a Melkort, but I think they're showing him a bit too much respect, but I don't know how the game turns out. Maybe they were showing him the right amount of respect. So, at any rate, tune in next time, see what happens. Until then, take care.